Pattern questions might seem quite intimidating, but if you organize your practice well, you'll see it's really not such a big deal. There are about 5 different types of questions that you need to master. Here's a list arranged roughly in order of most common to least common. Number 1, constant difference. Number 2, square numbers. Number 3, constant difference in brackets, grouping or double up. Number 4, triangular numbers. Number 5, divide by row. First of all, you'll need to master each of them individually. I've placed links in the description box for tutorial videos explaining each type of question. It's not enough to learn the techniques. You really need to do them repeatedly to drill it into your head. The problem is that it's hard to find enough practice, especially for the rarer types of questions. You might want to check out my website for that because it is able to regenerate unlimited variations of each of these questions using programming. Secondly, you'll need to be able to identify each type of question when you come across them. You might be scratching your head right now, because if you have already mastered each of them individually, especially if you've practiced each type 100 times, you'll definitely be able to recognize the pattern when you see it, right? That's what I thought as well, but from my experience, it's not really the case. Remember the website I mentioned? I've used it on my students. Still, there are times when they come across the most basic pattern and they are unable to identify it. Yes, even students in the top class. But once I tell them, oh, this is a constant difference question, or oh, this is square numbers, they go into autopilot mode and solve the question easily. Why does this happen? I have no idea. I only know that it does happen. The most effective solution I know of is to memorize the list of 5 different patterns and eliminate them one by one from most common to least common until you've found the right pattern. Thirdly, if you're just given a diagram and a table of numbers is not written out for you, write out your own numbers. The fourth thing you need to do is to look out for combinations. Once you've truly mastered the 5 types of patterns and are able to identify each type consistently, you have to be flexible and ready to apply them in creative ways. There may only be about 5 types of questions, but the question setters can be pretty sadistic. The solution to a question might involve different combinations of these 5 types of patterns. For example, the pattern for circles is constant difference, but there's no pattern for triangles. But there might be a pattern in the sum of circles and triangles, or the difference in circles and triangles. If you know the sum of circles and triangles, you can take the sum minus the circles to find the triangles. If you know the difference, you can take the circles plus the difference to get triangles. Another variation is even odd rows. The even rows might follow one pattern and the odd rows might follow a different pattern. There's yet another variation where the pattern doesn't start from row 1. So there's no pattern for figure 1 or even figure 1 and 2. Instead, the pattern only starts from figure 3 onwards. In those cases, all you need to do is just to shift the starting points. But again, be very careful and get in some practice, because although it's a simple adjustment, many students still tend to make careless mistakes. Probably because they go into autopilot mode and are not thinking carefully about the logic behind each step. I'll elaborate more on this in my video tutorial on pattern variants. I'll place the link in the description box, or you can find the video on my YouTube channel. Lastly, relax. I know I said at the start of the video that it's really no big deal, but don't beat yourself up if you struggle with these types of questions. Some people just have a natural ability when it comes to pattern recognition. Math sucks, but it's gonna suck even more if you put too much pressure on yourself, because then your brain gets jammed up. So try to relax, it really improves your chances. I know there's a very strong tendency to disregard this last point as some new age mumbo jumbo, but ignore it at your own risk. I've seen really intelligent students unable to answer very simple questions when I crank up the stress. And of course, when I say relax, I don't mean, okay, this looks like a hard question, I'm just gonna relax until someone comes along and gives me the solution. That doesn't make any sense. Instead, I mean it like, okay, this looks like a hard question, but I'm gonna relax and try my best to solve it for the next few minutes. If I don't get the answer, then I don't get the answer. Doesn't mean I'm an idiot, even if the solution turns out to be really simple. There's a world of difference between those two mindsets. So to recap, number 1, master each type individually. Number 2, memorize the list. Number 3, write out your own numbers. Number 4, look out for combinations. And number 5, relax. Understanding how to solve this question is not nearly enough. You need a lot of practice. It's just common sense. It might seem like a hard question now, but practice it enough times and you'll be able to solve it with your eyes closed. But where are you gonna get enough examples to practice? Spiderweb Math is a website that I've created for my students which regenerates the same questions over and over again and is automatically marked. This way, you can just focus on getting the repetitions in. If you found this video useful, do consider subscribing to this channel and liking this video.